All right, guys, we're back for our crude oil report, which is due to come out any minute, in about 2 minutes and 5 seconds to be exact. So I've changed things a little bit in the upper left corner. I used to have the 5-tick momentum bar for crude oil with Spotlight. Decided to replace that with Spotlight's unleaded gas chart. Unleaded gas with Spotlight responds really well to the crude oil report, so I thought we'd look at something new for a change. Some of you may want to start trading that. The lower left corner is our 8-tick mini session with crude oil and Spotlight. I know many of you are trading that and having great success with it. Of course, the big chart on the right is the Counterpunch Trader, Counterpunch Express 2 as well. And that's what I'll be trading. It's a 377 tick chart. As usual, we will wait our 2 minutes and then we'll start looking for trades. I'll be focusing on the Counterpunch chart. If you're trading one of the charts on the left, I will just assume you know what you're doing. I won't be paying too much attention to those, although we may review them if I have time. Crude oil has definitely come off. It's down in the 60s again. It was up big yesterday, down a bit today, not much, relatively flat actually. No real news or anything today. Last week, unfortunately, I had some technical difficulties, got into the room late, and missed a beautiful one-and-done session, unfortunately. We'll see what today brings. Please hit the like button before you forget. Definitely appreciate that. I did announce some days when we will be dark in September. And the 2 boot camp schedules. First 2 Fridays in September, we got our 2 boot camps. All right, the report's coming out here. Not much of a report reaction. Somewhat muted. There we go. Took a little bit to get out of that first bar. Now we're getting the reaction. Sometimes you get multiple bars within the first second. We'll just go ahead and mark the boundary of this reaction here. Looking like that 200 moving average is the first roadblock for the bulls. So it's kind of a bullish consolidation here, and there it goes piercing through. Kind of hard to know where to mark the boundaries of this reaction, but that looks about right to me. Pretty tight range there, but making its way higher. Just going to wait for the first setup that comes our way. Still got a little time left. Another 20 seconds or so, and we'll be looking for trades. Okay, so Tuesday the 31st. I forgot about that, John. Thanks for the heads up. No session on Tuesday the 31st either. All right, so we're looking for setups now, and we could get a white short trade on the Counterpunch chart here, but it is in the squeeze zone and filtered out. You can see it's a gray setup, so we're still hanging, remaining flat. Price is now meandering back into the middle of its range, kind of still in the upper third of it, but testing that 50 moving average. It looks like we could get another leg higher, maybe. Action, reaction, reaction coming into that 50 moving average. Another setup, which is literally right on the 50 moving average. We could make a one tick adjustment to get short at 67.46. But I think we'll just stick with the dots on the chart. A one tick adjustment off that 50 moving average is certainly doable. I mean, that's an optional trade, I guess. Well, the setup's up here, actually. The setup's up here. So we're still flat because it is gray for sure. This would have been a white trade, and you had to wait for the histogram line to cross over for that extra confirmation, and that's why the setup returned. But it returned while still being in the squeeze zone. It may end up being a winning trade, but just not part of the plan. So looks like it's one tick shy of stopping out at a break even. If one got short at 47, it did come back up to 45. The stop would have moved to break even. It still may end up working this trade, but there it is. Would have stopped out for one tick anyway. So no harm, no foul. We're just waiting for the first valid setup. And we could get what's looking like a possible green trade long here, maybe. Not the most exciting price action thus far. If this bar closes, there it is. Yeah, so along at 52. And that is targeting 77, and the stop is at 29. First setup, long at 52, targeting 77, stop at 29. Can it get out of its own way and move past that 200 moving average and make a new swing high? We did get long. That trade is live. Money management is at 67.68. Got to get there first. That 200 moving average, definitely you can see the resistance it's showing us. Trying to work its way through. And to see some closes above the 200 moving average. It looks like the buyers are trying to assert themselves. That 50 moving average may be starting to work its way up to meet the 200 as the price hopefully heads higher. You do have an action reaction. This could be a subsequent action move, which would be perfect for us. And the reaction definitely fits that 1/3 to 2/3 retracement. So you have an action move literally through the report like so. Reaction that's 1/3 to 2/3 the action move could lead lead us to a subsequent action move that wants to mirror that first action move, and that's the trade we're in. So I mean, you gotta like our odds. But where's the energy? Already heading into the chop zone again here. Definitely need to make a new swing high. It's the next test obstacle to get to. And now you can see the reaction, which was resistance, now becoming support, hopefully. I'm going to go ahead and mark our first milestone here at 67.68. That's when we can move our stops to break even. Stops would go to 53 if we can hit 68. And we do have a nice sized target too. I mean, if we can get there, 25 cents is nice. 250 bucks a contract. It's a good sized trade. Just got to be patient. Unleaded gas got long up there in the upper left corner. Spotlight's still flat on the lower left corner with crude. Craig, I think you probably should use the MCL chart because they're not the same. And you'd want to test it first. There's not a lot of history on it. It's not going to be identical. Although I don't see why it wouldn't work. And there's a good argument to be made for using the MCL because then you can trade multiple positions easier and scale out at different target levels. Definitely you would have more flexibility. The volume is not nearly as much, but it's still adequate, I think. It is growing over time, little by little. I think it's going to gain in popularity. Hopefully it does. But you want to trade the chart. I mean, my initial reaction is you want to trade the chart. Use the chart you're trading. But, you could always test it the other way and see. Maybe your idea could be a good one. But I wouldn't want to shoot from the hip and just assume that. I just don't know. And it is trickier to test one chart and then what would the trades be in the other market. There's money management. Let's move our stops to break even. Stop should go to 53. Hopefully we get some follow through. 53 is one tick below that 200 moving average, which is nice. Still got a ways to go to get the full target. I like the energy popping through there like a cork out of a champagne bottle. Let's get another one of those. Trying to get to 77, and that 75 cent level is always hard. It's always hard to get through. We just got to 73. And the stop should be moving up here in a moment. Probably will move up to 59 when this bar closes. 58 or 59, depending on what happens with this bar. So we'll get a ham sandwich out of the deal no matter what. Try to stay in the trade long enough to get to its target. So yeah, the stop did move up to 59. So move your stops to 59. Hopefully we could stay in this trade. And the unleaded gas chart on the upper left, also a winner. Target 1 is a profit target for that, and moving stops to break even on that one as well. So here we are, the moment of truth. Can we get through the quarter century number? Hitting 74 now. It's always a tough number to get through, and it could easily turn this market lower. So far, support seems to be holding pretty well. The bulls are putting up a fight here, but can it get through the quarter century number? So far, it hasn't been able to. Sometimes it takes a few attempts. Keeps hitting that stone wall, doesn't it? It could pop through with energy also. There's 75. There's one tick shy of full target, hitting 76. Let's get there. Can it do it? One tick shy. You want to get some profit here.
Order filled.
There it is. Full target. Not bad. Hitting it right on the head, even going one tick beyond. And could be headed higher here. So stops look like they're going to move to 62 at the close of this bar. Maybe a little more. The next target, by the way, is 86. And it looks like it has a good shot of hitting it. It's got to get through. Each nickel is a key level that it has to work its way through. So now you can see it trying to get through the 80-cent level. And the stop did just move up to 63. Move the stop up to 63. Looks like it'll go to 64 in a moment. Unfortunately, there were no setups on the crude oil chart on the lower left with Spotlight. Just didn't get the setup. So you're still patiently waiting there. So anything can still happen on that. 64 now, the stop on counterpunch, and it's looking like it's going to move up to 69 in a moment. Let's see where this bar closes. Remember, it has to close above our signal line, which is the dotted cyan line, or balance line as we call it in Spotlight. Marks the balance of power between buyers and sellers. So we need to be above it, closing above it for the stop to move. So as long as this bar closes above this line, you can see that line's at 72 so far. So get ready to move your stops to, well, it didn't close above it. It closed on it. That doesn't count. So we don't move our stops. Give this trade every chance to get higher. Stops stay where they are. Now this red bar could close above the line. If it does, looking at where the signal line is at 73, the stop would move to 69, but you may want to keep it below the spike, which is at 68. So depending on where this bar closes, we'd move the stop to 67. But let's just see what happens, because so far it's still below the line, and then we won't move the stop at all. So now there is a short setup, but we're not going to take it because we've already hit our primary goal of target 2. Today we're one and done. Now it's just a matter of managing this trade to its completion. Stop still remains at 64. Let me give this trade every chance to get higher. And it just stopped out at 64. So that's all she wrote. a one and done session, which is always wonderful. Yeah, Len, I keep trading it for a reason. This is an evergreen plan that has worked for years and years. It also, we kind of got lucky with just how the setup occurred. I always talk about action, reaction, subsequent action. I talk about it a lot in my book that I published last year, the Quick Start Guide to Day Trading. The Day Trading Quick Start Guide, I forget what it's called. Anyway, that book. But I always talk about action, reaction, subsequent action, and we saw it unfold before our very eyes, didn't we? I brought it up, I showed you. And it's always good to get that first subsequent action. That's the most dependable. Because trends happen on different time frames. So while this trend can still go up and up, if it continues on a faster chart, this could be multiple legs. You just have to think in an abstract way. But on this chart, what we're looking for in a reaction is a reaction that's 1 to 2/3 the size of the action move. And you can see that it went about 2/3, maybe, pretty close. A deep reaction, but it still qualifies. And I mean, it doesn't matter because we had our setup regardless. We're trading counterpunch trader. We're not trading this action, reaction, subsequent action idea. It just so happened that it set up perfectly for the subsequent action move, and you could see it mirrored the first one nearly perfectly as well. That's always nice when that happens. It's good to pay attention to price action. Meanwhile, your counterpunch trade got short on the 8-tick momentum bar. I will leave you all to your own devices on that. If you're trading it, it's because you're an experienced trader and you know what you're doing. As far as I'm concerned, we are finished with this session. I do like what I see with the unleaded gas trade plan. It is an alternative. It has always performed well with Spotlight. This 20-tick momentum bar with unleaded gas futures after the crude oil report has been a solid trade plan. Continues to work. We see it every week practically. I would probably put an educated guess of a 75% win rate, more or less. Session win rate, maybe even a little better. But that's just a guess. It's not something I've been actively tracking or following, because I am just me, one person only. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the session. Please hit the like button. A quick review of the schedule in case you were not in the last session that we just finished earlier this morning. We are going to be dark on a few days coming up, beginning Tuesday, the 31st of this month, and then the first 2 weeks in September, there will not be a Tuesday or Thursday session because John will be gone. He's got his Backpacktrader hat on. He's going to be out gallivanting wherever he's gallivanting. He'll be back on the 16th, Thursday. So his first session back in September will be the 16th, Thursday. That entire week, though, I will be gone. So no session on Monday the 13th or Wednesday the 15th. So no session that week, the week of the Monday the 13th, until Thursday the 16th. So one session that week only. Also, 2 boot camps coming up, in case you missed it. The Catapult Advanced Membership Boot Camp will be Friday the 3rd, and the following Friday the 10th is the Catapult Grains Boot Camp. We were just talking about how some additional markets have been added to those modules, including cotton, some meats. Not that you would want to trade them, but you might. Catapult's very interesting. Coffee, cocoa. I may add sugar. I'd like to. That may happen as well. But the grains just by themselves are well worth your attention, especially soybeans, bean oil, and wheat. Those 3. We'll definitely get into some others too. Corn maybe. Soy meal maybe. But bean oil, soybeans, and wheat are the three that jump out at me as worth paying close attention to. Those markets are very interesting. We'll get into that boot camp on the 10th. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the session. Appreciate you. Glad you're here. But now it's time to say goodbye. Everyone have a wonderful rest of the week. Nice weekend. And I'll be back on Monday. Bye, everyone.